Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode.
Well, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast, the new Sam Ambassador Friday Fun Day version. I'm your host, Sam Byler, and I'm honored to be out here in the middle of Ohio, somewhere, with, I could almost call you famous. I was thinking about it on the way over here. Do I want to call you famous or infamous? Josh Schwartzentruber.
That's right.
I've actually been looking forward to this one. So we had a little miscommunication. You thought that you were going to interview me, and I came thinking I was going to interview you. So it's all good. We get done here, we'll turn around, and you can ask me all the questions.
That's what happens when you don't ask enough questions, I guess. You don't know what's going on.
So, you asked me about stopping in to do a podcast, and I'm like, sure, I'll be happy to stop in and do one.
Yeah.
So it's all good. I think the first time that I ran into you was on Facebook, and somebody had posted one of your YouTube videos, and I didn't even. So I think I actually deleted it because I'm a little bit old school on our hauler page, and when somebody just shares stuff that I don't think has anything to do with them.
Right.
You know, it's if you would, so there's 5,000 people on there. If we would let everybody just share whatever they want to share every day, you couldn't even find stuff. So way back, we're coming up on 10 years on that page.
Really?
It's pretty wild.
Wow.
Merle and I were talking about it the other day. Merle Miller and I met on somebody else's Facebook page, found out we were both in the shed hauling business, and we're like, hey, we should start a page. There was actually a couple other people in that conversation that day, and there was 2 pages started the same day.
Okay.
I honestly have no idea why ours took off more than the other one did, but it's always been that way. But that's bringing it back to say, I like when people share their own stuff. It keeps it more relevant. It keeps it more in focus with what we do. Obviously, most of us are trucker oriented.
Yeah.
So a lot of trucking stuff shows up on there, and I try to use as much grace as possible to, you know, if it's something that applies, leave it there, but at the same time, clean it up. So I think your first one, I actually deleted it. And then somewhere along, did we meet in Indiana the first time? Is that where we met?
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, at the Midwest
At the Midwest Bash. And you intrigued the heck out of me because you come from the same background that I did. Obviously, I was a little kid when we left. And you had to, but I've seen the battles come out of that. I've seen the good and the bad side.
Yeah.
And I watch people. I basically feel like your reactions to other people's actions determine what you're going to be.
That's good.
You follow what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
I like to say that we should live life more proactive than reactive, but a lot of what we do is based on the reaction we give to somebody's action, and that's what you come from. That's what makes you. So I'm just going to wade right in. I got a lot I want to cover, and there's a lot in there that I want to know, you know, how does a guy like you, you know, you left the Amish, you got into hauling somehow. I want to know how you got into hauling, how you got into sheds, and where'd the YouTube come from? You know, did you just wake up one day and say, you know what, I want to put my story out there? Where does that come from?
Nope. It came from, gosh, I could go way back. I don't know how far back to go, but
Go back as far as you want. I'll sit here and listen all day.
You said growing up Amish in a large family, I was in the middle, and I was bullied a lot as a kid, and that's a form of emotional abuse, and that puts me in what I call a spiral of just depression, addiction, feeling like I'm worthless, suicidal. I mean, up until I was 22 years old, I was suicidal different times, and just kind of a hard life, lost, didn't know where to go. And Man, where are we? You asked too many questions there. I don't know which direction to go.
Yeah, just start wherever you want to. I'll bring you back to the ones you miss.
And then I started finally educating myself and just kind of working on myself, got counseling, tried to figure out who I am. Really working on myself a lot is where it changed my life. And then, well, you asked about YouTube. So yeah, at some point I said, well, I want passive income. This is at the time, this is now, I mean, fast forward where I'm 30 years old and I'm looking at how can I do better with my income and how can I get passive income so that I can get paid on Sunday and when I'm sleeping. And so I started doing research on that. And one of the things was YouTube, real estate, YouTube, some of the other things. So that's how I got YouTube, the idea. And then this is a couple of years after I started hauling sheds. One day, me and my brother-in-law, we're both sick. We're at home. We're bored. So he says, he's been watching this guy on YouTube that does, he's a tow truck driver. So he goes on there and we're watching this. And that was the day a light bulb went off. I thought, we've been sitting here for 30 minutes. The guy has a GoPro on him and he's just out doing his job. And we're entertained watching it. And boom. So the idea had already come before. And I like to back it up a little bit to say, some things come easy, but oftentimes I did research on it and, thought things through and it didn't come by accident. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then
I picked that up.
Yeah. And it's kind of like when you buy a new car, then all of a sudden you see a lot of those same cars out there.
Oh, yeah.
Because your brain thinks that's what you like. So that moment of seeing this tow truck driver, that light bulb wouldn't have come on if I wouldn't have been looking for that opportunity. That's the point I'm trying to make.
You would have sat there and watched it.
Yeah.
Been entertained, but it wouldn't. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool that you found it through, like you knew you wanted to do. Somewhere you said that recently, something about wanting passive income, because that's why I wanted to know if the passive income, if that came before, let's do YouTube.
No, it was.
Yeah. You seen that as a way to have passive income.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you see a tow truck driver doing it. So you just decide, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go out and buy me a GoPro and I'm just going to start filming everything. Yeah.
I spent $99 on eBay and I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is worth it, but it's paid off well.
Yeah.
And
what are your, walk me through a little bit, like what your YouTube, how many followers do you have? What seems to be, what do they like to, what are the ones that like become big or go viral or whatever?
Yeah. Right now we have 140,000 subscribers. I believe it's where we're at. And the fights, well, not fights, but they want chaotic.
They want chaotic.
Yes. If you're doing repo, and that's what it was, is the repo.
Yeah.
And there are some deliveries I haven't done much recording on deliveries, but people like them. Anything tiny house related is popular right now.
Yes. Yeah.
And but yeah, repo, the stingier, the messier, the crappier, you get into a little fight or something. So it's a bit of a balance or a challenge for me, because when I go out there, I know the people on YouTube. I know if I put up a fight and if I cause some chaos, I could get a lot more views and make a lot more money.
Yeah.
And I'm not just trying to blow smoke and brag on me, but I look at it as that's not who I am. My integrity is to treat people nice. And so I'll sacrifice the views because I just want to be nice to people and change the world that way.
I've noticed that some of yours, so obviously both of us being in shed hauling, both of us I've done a lot of repos. I just don't have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But my friends at home, they always say you should have a TV crew following you around just because of the dumb stuff we get into.
Yeah.
You and I both know that we can de-escalate a situation or we can escalate it.
Exactly.
It's pretty much in the driver's. Now, there is 1 out of 20, 25, I don't know, that you absolutely can't. They're just off the wall. You can't control anything they do. But the majority of them, we have the ability to de-escalate or escalate it. One of my favorite ones of you is the one where, and I don't quite remember what the deal was, but it was out kind of back behind the house a ways. You went up and talked to her at the house. You went back there. You fooled around. You went back and forth. You weren't in a hurry. and you tried to stay as non-confrontational as possible. But I could tell that it was wearing on you a little bit, that you were a little aggravated with it.
Yeah.
And
It's happened.
And there's it to me. Now, obviously, I'm not your typical YouTuber, a watcher. But to me, you do very well at keeping it exciting, but at the same time, not pushing them past where I know you could push them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get that. We watch all the TikTokers too and stuff, and I absolutely despise TikTok.
I don't have it. I just refuse.
I don't like what our government's doing with it.
Yeah.
But I despise TikTok in the fact that, the more you bully, the more aggravating you get, the more people like it.
Or the dumber you
the dumber
act.
you get, it's, it's, I get that. But you did the one where you were delivering that shed that just insisted on falling apart.
Right, yes.
And that's another one that I really like because there's no drama involved. It's you fighting a shed.
Yeah.
And we've been there,
Yeah.
But for somebody that doesn't know anything about sheds, it's like, how does this get so many views, without, and, sometimes you have something, you're like, I have no idea why that went viral.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you found that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We had one that is nothing with sheds. My wife took a video of Amish man plowing, and as of now, it has 28 million views. And we got over 20,000 subscribers out of that video. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And it kind of messed us up because it's a short video. And it was in India. The country of India is where the views come from. Because they're like, what? They use horses? We thought we used cows to plow.
Oh, that's...
Yeah.
That's
and so
cool.
it messes your algorithm up. Because I can look at, well, not algorithm, my analytics.
Yeah.
I can look at, okay, there's just the age group that watches my videos. This is the country that watches the most. And as this thing comes in and messes it all up because it's different age group, different countries. Mm-hmm. So I guess I want to ask you the question is, what age group do you think watches some of my videos? Because it's 65 and older, 55 to 65, 45 to 55, and then from there down.
From there down every 10 years.
Yeah, I think it goes 30.
So as somebody that obviously knows almost nothing about it, I would say the most people watching YouTubes are between 18 and 30. Mm-hmm. That's what I would guess.
The people who watch the most by far, it's always been 65 and older.
No way. Oh, that's mind blowing.
I know.
Like I wouldn't even know anybody. I feel like I'm old in that category, and I wouldn't be anywhere close. So, introducing the Challenger, the revolutionary new shed mover that's taking the industry by storm. The Challenger features a touchless design, ensuring it only makes contact at the end of the skids and the bottom of the floor joists. So rest easy, knowing your gable walls will remain pristine. Worried about reliability? Fear not, the Challenger is always up for the challenge and will not overturn or scuff your shed. Harness the power of innovative wireless technology. Remotely control the Challenger via your smartphone. No cell service needed. And guess what? The cell phone remote comes standard with every Challenger at no extra cost. Featuring floating forks, a 4-directional tilting mast, and sliding weight transfer, move the shed weight precisely where you need it to get ultimate traction. With self-loading capability, straight onto your truck, say goodbye to the need for a hydraulic carriage. The Challenger makes your job easy and more efficient. Choose from 2 machine sizes, 10,000 pounds and 15,000 pounds. Perfect for any job. Visit us at the Shed Expo in Michigan this September. Find us at booth 552. Don't miss out. Visit www.shedchallenger.com or email us at info@shedchallenger.com or call or text 828-220-3508 for more information. Experience the future of shed moving with the Challenger. It's pretty easy to pick up on the fact that you're not you're not a hauler doing YouTube. You're a YouTuber that just happens to haul. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Where do you balance like well, you know, most haulers, most of us like chrome, lights,
Right.
smoke, power.
Yeah, right.
Do you have that in you? Is
I
that something
do.
that you actually enjoy doing?
I do. I had just for a little bit there, I had my own truck. And
Yep.
boy, did I get hammered by DOT. I spent $3,000 in fines in 6 months.
I know how that
And
is.
it's like Satan just put the hammer down.
Yeah,
and
like you're not doing this.
it was weird. But other than that, I've always driven somebody else's truck. And so I just kind of drive, whatever is available, whatever they have.
Yep.
But no, I think you're thinking about I'm a YouTuber doing sheds. In a way, yes, because we do other videos, and that's
Yes.
the long-term goal is YouTube, not sheds.
Yes, that's
But
what I was looking for.
When
Yeah.
I'm out there, especially doing repos, then I feel like I have to reverse it. Because I'm there representing whoever my boss is or the company I hold for. I'm representing rent-owned company. I'm representing the whole shed industry.
Yep.
And I'm representing God. And I'm doing all of that. So then, like I said earlier, Dennis, I have to choose to make that priority. And there's things I want to say, there's things I want to do, but I got a job to, like, you're on your job.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do my job first. And then, and to make better videos, I could also slow down, explain things, but I don't know when the guy's going to come home with a gun. So I got to get in and out.
You don't.
So
Yeah, I used to say you move as fast as you slowly can.
yeah,
You know,
that's a good way to put it.
You don't want the neighbors to think you're stealing it. This dude's in a major rush.
Oh, I never
So,
thought of that.
I used to tell Shane all the time, my son, when he would help me, he says, I'd be like, you get out and you move. Don't waste any time,
Yeah.
but let's not get in a hurry. But at the same time, when they were, so most times if they got to me, they were bad. Because that means my other haulers my drivers had already been run off, or
Yeah.
somebody else had tried and didn't, And there's probably a dozen guys on the hauler page that I consider professional retrieval guys that I feel like are doing it to the best of their ability. They're doing it professionally,
Yeah.
but we don't all do it the same way.
Right. Yeah.
We all have our own quirks. We all have our own ideas of what we think is the best way we can do it.
yeah.
And I don't agree with the other guys. I'm like, man, I'd never do that. But then I do stuff and they'd be like, what in the world? Do you notice that?
I haven't noticed too much. Yeah, I do see some stuff.
Yeah.
But then I guess, you don't have to share if you don't want to, but what are some of the things that you shouldn't do?
So for example, I always call them.
The
Even
customer.
if, yeah. So we always had this thing, it was a yellow one, and then it was a red one, and then it was a purple one.
Okay.
Yellow one meant that, just go get it. There's no issues. It's just caution. Just
Like a
go get it.
return,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a return. I've actually had volunteer returns go south.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah, I've had that too.
So then when it goes red, that means somebody's tried, maybe multiple times. When it's purple, somebody's got their hands around the neck and it's losing air. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't care if it was which stage it was in. I tried to contact those people and let them know that, hey, I'm the guy that's in charge of getting this building picked back up. I know guys that they won't.
Yeah.
And they're friends of mine, and I trust what they do.
Yeah.
I just can't operate that way. They're like, no, we're not calling them. I don't want them knowing that we're trying to get it.
Right. Yeah.
So that's probably one of the biggest differences about me. And the fact is that when I show up, the first thing I do is I go knock on a door. It doesn't matter if I'm trying to hurry or if I'm trying to grab it quick. Now, if I go knock on the door and I get run off and then I have to try to do it later, I've already did that approach.
Yeah.
So then it
Yeah.
might change. But on average, I tend to work with them as much as possible until they either, we've had, how many times have you gone up and knocked on a door, nobody answers,
Many
you get halfway through picking up the shed and somebody comes out that same door.
Yeah. Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. If you want to get them out of the house, just start unloading your meal and they'll wake
Well,
up.
So I was one of the ones that said I'd never have mules. Mm-hmm. We did it the old fashioned.
You're one of those.
Yeah, I was one of those. I gave it up quicker than a lot of them did. Mm-hmm. But I'd been at it a lot longer before that. Mm-hmm. So when I started having to hire some drivers, I was like, we're going to have to get a mule. It's just not going to work any other way. I can't expect guys to go rolling around on pipes the way I do all the time. So we got a mule, and I got one of the first ones that had a remote, and you'd be in the middle of doing the delivery, and you'd be going down 4 blocks in the middle of Jacksonville, Florida, and it would quit. And there was nothing you could do to start it. It just had the first ones had such electronic issues.
Really?
And you come back the next morning, it'd crank right up and run for another 2 weeks.
So there's no manual control?
No, there was nothing.
Oh, wow.
Nothing you could do on them. So you would be in the middle of a pickup and it would do that.
Oh, wow.
And then you're done. Well, anyway, I got to where I was pretty good. I could go up and beat on the door, and I'd be running the mule around over here on the side. It'd be headed for the building, with the remote. And they'd open the door, and they'd be like, what, what's going on over there?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that used to be fun until the thing quit. Mm-hmm. But so I guess what I'm asking is, did you ever feel like you had to have a set system in the way you did pickups? Or did you just kind of always wade into them and say, well, if this happens, we'll do this?
Yeah, I mean, you go in, you never know what's going to happen. So I guess I would say, why have a system? Because you don't know.
It's never going to work.
Right. It's never going to go. It's just one or the other way. And I've thought about that a lot too, is do you call them? I've done it when I had my own truck. I would do that for returns. Sometimes I'd call them. But for repos, we never did. I was never taught that. Nobody I know personally around here ever calls them.
Yep.
And I'm kind of in the cam buff. I don't really want them to know I'm coming because then they can be waiting. But it's a challenge to figure out where that balance is to me, because I even thought about, you're a repo guy. Like for car repo guys, they don't go out there and knock on their door, do they? They just show up and grab the car.
I did those long before I did sheds.
Yeah.
So that's the world I came from.
But would you knock on the door?
No.
Yeah.
The dealer had already done that.
Yeah.
So we never. So the little bit of difference in when I was doing car pickups versus shed pickups, most times the people that had contacted the car pickup ones were more local to the area. Mm-hmm. Our rent-to-own companies are scattered everywhere.
Yeah, it's true.
And a lot of times there's just a communication gap, because you have a guy from Pennsylvania calling somebody from South Carolina, or you have somebody from Texas calling somebody in Indiana.
Yeah.
And there's almost a communication barrier just in the different cultures. Mm-hmm. So when I would show up as someone from that area, I found out my communication sometimes would help to where I didn't have to pick up that shed. I could walk up to the door and let them yell at me for 30 minutes and I'd get payment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not always, but and when I started, so the first 5 years I never picked up anybody's shed except one I sold. They were all sheds that I had done and I had delivered them.
So these are your customers?
Yeah, these are my customers.
That would be a little different.
So my training was all done on my customers.
Yeah.
And then you're standing there with the customer and you have the RTO company on speaker and you hear how they're getting treated by the RTO company. We've seen that go both ways.
Yeah.
We've seen RTO companies treat customers very well and we've seen them treat them poorly.
Yeah.
Well, as the owner of the company, that made a difference to me.
I'm sure it would, because these are your customers.
Yeah. And then, I was having a conversation Saturday at Woody's party with a guy about, he had a customer that came in like over and over, and he'd pick this shed, and then he'd change his mind and pick that shed. Took him forever to decide which shed he wanted. Well, then he never paid for it.
Oh, wow.
So after 6 months of picking 12 different sheds, they finally get him a shed to get it out there on rent to own. Of course, they finally get the down payment and stuff. Well, he never pays on it again. So when he goes out there to pick it up, there's like 5 sheds sitting out there.
Wow.
What does that tell you?
He done it with 5 different companies.
Yeah, he did it with 5 different companies, and he's probably going to sell them again. And of course, this guy's shed is blocked in by the other sheds. You know, we see stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff.
So when we see that, it's like another brick gets laid in our armor. That's what we're dealing with all the time.
Yeah.
Do you feel like sometimes we get callous?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're dealing with, if somebody really ticks you off, and that's something I recently actually made a video, a little bit of my opinion and stuff about Shed Repo, but that is something I did talk about, though, is be very careful. If somebody really ticks you off and gets on your nerve, you cannot take that attitude to the next customer, though. I mean, is that what you're referring to? Yeah,
it's pretty easy to do that.
It is, yeah. But you have to, I think you have to build good character to be a repo guy. Because if you don't, if somebody can control you and get you angry really fast, then you're going to lose your control and you're going to do dumb stuff. And
no,
so,
say it ain't so.
Yeah, it's so. So, yeah, I know what you're saying. If somebody treats you bad or somebody did this, and then you're thinking, you kind of think of, man, people are just so evil or wrong or whatever. And then you go to the next customer and you don't know. They might be very nice.
And you're kind of using that previous experience.
You're still in that state. And, you know, this idea of just grabbing it and go or calling. The other thing that we've seen a few times, I've seen it happen, is where, especially at a trailer park or it could be anywhere, you get there and they say, oh, well, we bought the trailer house and the shed came with it.
Oh, yeah.
No, it didn't.
Now
They're innocent, most likely. They were told that. And so if I go in and grab this thing with no communication, I feel kind of bad now because, hey, they didn't know.
Yeah.
They thought it's their
We've
shed.
actually seen some of those people make the news.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah. So that's where, but if they're not home and you're 3 hours, 2 hours from home,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
stop by,
I'm
you're just
definitely
gonna
getting
get
it. Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
And
then we'll figure the mess out later. In fact, I've had a couple tell me that, and I'm like, look, I've drove 3 hours to come get this. I'm paid to get this shed picked up. It is the right shed. I'm going to put it over here on this lot.
Yeah.
And we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
There again, I'm the one that's in control of that situation. If they're there, if they're not there, you make the news and then it hits the hauler page and we're all like, yep, we know what's going on.
Yeah.
So do you feel like us as a group of haulers do we get too callous towards it? Where's the balance? Do you think we're doing a good job at staying fairly balanced, or?
I mean, just from what I'm seeing, gosh, I don't know. I guess I don't follow it that closely or watch that closely, but I definitely do see things that ticks me off a little bit, I guess. I can't think of exactly which one, but just because you have to remember you're representing the whole shed industry, and you know, if you're doing repo, you're representing the seller, the rent-to-own company, everybody. So yeah, some people do, some people don't, in my opinion. But
you feel that check in yourself. Like, do you feel like maybe at some point, let's say I'm gonna draw it to me so that we're not pointing at anybody, and I'm not pointing at you. But if all I'm doing is being a professional retrieval guy, would you feel comfortable in saying at some point, Sam, you need to go do something else? Like it's you follow what I'm saying? We get so callous to it.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, probably.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you also get burned out. People get burned out, I think. That's, my friends. But I think to focus is to work on yourself. Because the more secure you are in yourself and you know where your identity is, you can handle it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but if you're insecure...
that makes a huge difference.
There was a video that I had recorded. I took it off of YouTube because it was recorded in PA. And I'll just say this real quick, is some states, PA is a state that you have to have consent, two-party consent to film. And
that's a good point.
Yeah, I found that out later and I was like, oh, they got come after me for that. But this lady was, I couldn't get through to her. I tried, I even she's like, I'm going to sue you and blah, 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 I'm going to get hurt. And I'm like, actually, no, I don't want you. I care about you. I don't want you to get hurt. I thought I could crack something there in her heart, but she had a rock in there.
Yeah, I heard
that. What was my point? Oh, yes. she calls me everything under the sun. You're a this and that. You're a so and so. Because if I sit here and tell you you're a jerk, you're a piece of crap, and you get that into your heart and you start believing it, you're gonna act different.
Oh yeah,
and you're gonna leave to
yeah,
acting different. So you have to build yourself up. You have to know who you are. You have to know your identity, so that whatever they throw at you just bounces right off.
That's good stuff.
And you might have to leave there, your truck by yourself, and out loud speak to yourself. That's not who I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it'll break you.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. I know what you're saying.
yeah. So that's all in learning who you are and personal growth.
Yeah. A little bit more on the retrieval stuff, and then we'll get off of that. Just because I've watched you and seen what you do with it. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like a good delivery guy is a good retrieval guy?
I would say so.
You would say so.
Well, if you're a good delivery guy, you should know how to not tear up the property too much. You should know how to not tear up the building. You should know the knowledge that you have and the skill that you have from delivery should be the same skill you have for retrieval. Sounds like a trick question. So
Oh, no, you actually brought up something that I'm looking at it from personality wise.
okay.
A really good and I'm thinking of certain people. When I think of this, automatically, my top 12 delivery guys that I know, they want to make their customers happy. They're pleasers.
Yeah.
They want to do it right. They don't want to tear anything up. It's kind of interesting you bring up not tearing anything up, because most of the good retrieval guys, they don't care about that part, and I wish they did a little bit.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at was the really good delivery guys don't want to do pickups because they don't want to get in situation with customers, because they're about making their customers happy.
Yeah.
And then when you ask them to go pick up a shed, they're like, no, I'm not going to pick up any sheds.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm getting at?
Yeah. You're talking more their personality,
Yes.
not their
Yeah,
skill.
yeah, not their
Right,
skill,
yeah,
their
that makes
personality
sense.
side. Because I see a trend right now. And I'm not saying that some of the best retrieval guys we have in the business right now aren't good delivery guys.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
gotcha.
that. Some of
Yeah.
those guys I know personally, and I know they can deliver sheds perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
They're seeing an opportunity to pick up sheds that nobody else wants to, and they're going to have to get paid better to do it.
Right.
So they make better money.
Yeah.
And you don't have to sling blocks while you're doing it.
I
That's
like
another
that part.
discussion.
Yeah. Oh.
That's another discussion we can get into. You want to
Yes.
sling blocks or no, or all that good stuff.
Yank it out and go. I hate blogging.
So back to my customers, we picked up the blocks afterwards because those were my blocks.
Oh.
And I'm like, we can bring those blocks back, and I don't have to buy them from Lowe's or
Yeah.
ABC or wherever I'm getting it. So I would always try to clean up as much as possible when I was done. I'd get my shims back up and everything. There again, try to do it as fast as possible. I actually got busted one time, and the customer beat me
Really?
because I was picking up blocks, and I
wow.
probably should have let him go.
Like, you need your blocks.
yeah,
And they're
but-
part of the deal, right?
Well, and they are. They're part of the
Yeah.
deal, So I don't know. It was we offered, the blocks came with delivery up
Right,
to a
yeah.
certain height.
Yeah.
So I wasn't charging customers for a block. If we did charge them, we left them because, in my opinion, they bought them.
Yeah. True.
But it's always it's interesting to me to see how people that I feel like are like me think different. And you guys think different from what I do, whether it's our upbringing, whether it's the way we train ourselves, or like you said, a lot of times it's situations that we come through, not circumstances, people yelling at you 3 days in a row. And if you don't
Yeah.
do something about that, all of a sudden it starts getting to you.
True.
I had a guy tell me a couple of weeks ago, he says, man, I just can't take it anymore. And I'm like, well, what you have is great advice. Get in your truck and listen to some good stuff again.
Yeah.
And realize why you're out here doing what you're doing. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
Let's go back to one of the original ones. What was your journey in deciding to leave the culture that you grew up in?
I mean, honestly, I always say at 14 years old, my dream was to drive truck and trailer. That was my biggest dream. I even had we had these little wagon that you have on the farm.
Oh, yeah.
And because we didn't have bikes. So we would put one knee on the wagon and use the other foot and, pedal.
With the handle flip back over top?
The tongue.
Yeah.
And so I built a trailer. It was a plywood and an axle about 4 feet long, 16 inches wide, little gooseneck on the front, JS Truckee on the side. And I backed that thing around, drive it around the shop, practicing, pretending I'm driving truck. So that's kind of where part of the dream started. And it's funny how many times since I left, I had so many different jobs. I don't know if I can keep track, but somehow I end up going back to driving. Yeah.
That's what my family says about me too.
Yeah.
So did you grow up on a farm?
Yeah. My dad had a small farm.
Okay.
So we did we would work for other farmers or actually I started, when I was still in school, I started working for the guy right next to the school had a bucky shop, like these guys. Oh. And so I built buckies for him for many years. And I enjoyed it because I hated farming. Oh, did I not like farming? I hated milking. I would get sick every morning milking cows. So I loved to just go work in a shop.
That's interesting.
But, yeah, and that's, it did driving truck and freedom. And I think even at 10 years old, I thought, this life is not for me. There's got to be more out there. And so finally at 19 is when I finally had enough energy to jump that fence and kaboom.
Never looked back.
I went back actually 3 months after I left.
Oh, you did?
But that was, excuse me, that was mostly because I did not have a birth certificate. For some reason, me and my older sister, we were right in the middle of the family. There was nothing. Like, you don't go to the courthouse or the health department and there was nothing. So I could have just, stayed nobody. I look back on that now and think, why did I do that, But
like no taxes?
Yeah. But to get driver's license, you got to have your social security number. Yeah. So I kind of felt hopeless. And it was on New Year's Day in 2006. I went back. And I was back for 4 days. January 6th is when they have Old Christmas, so they have like a Sunday.
Yep.
My buddy drives past the house with his car, and this thing rose up in me again that says, I'm going to drive a car.
Yeah, you're going to figure out how to get out of here.
Yeah. And so I took the same note I left for the first time and laid it out, and I ran away again.
So how in the world did you find your how do you go about finding a birth certificate that doesn't exist?
It's a God story in this case because you really need your parents to, sign papers and stuff. I had a few things was my school grade cards that has my name on it and information, and then I had a paper from a hunter safety course I had taken when I was like 14 years old, I think. And I had a cart for blood donation. So those are things that have my name on it, and they were dated, back there.
Okay.
And so that's what I had. And then after I left, I started going to church, and the pastor talked to him about it, and he said, well, he's got an attorney there that can help me. So I gave him what I had, and I had no idea attorney charges money for anything. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy, Joe Kime. He lives kind of local here that helps a lot of the former Amish. He ended up signing the paper that just saying what's on here is true.
That you're actually a person.
Yeah, that I'm actually a person. And I mean, I could have changed my name.
Yeah, you were
anything.
Yeah,
it's
at
crazy.
That point, yeah,
I could be, Jimmy Trump.
Yeah,
and be rich now.
But you are most definitely Josh.
I'm definitely.
That's who you are.
Well, that's actually not my real name.
It's kind of funny. You got a paper laying over there with Einstein on it, and it's I know it because I recognize it as a Smart Pay pad.
Yeah, Richard gave me that.
Yeah. So back to the buggies a little bit. Did you know? So you've met. I'm guessing you met Dave Miller, the Smart Pay guy.
I've seen him
Richard's
at the
boss.
bash, but I've never met him.
So Dave's family built the buggy boxes, the fiberglass boxes that are
Really?
on the bottom. Did y'all have those fiberglass boxes?
No,
or
we made them with wood.
you made them with wood? See, that's the way I remember it.
Yeah.
And when I was at Dave's place, we went over there to that shop, and I was just floored.
So
I'm
they're
like,
just
what?
like fiberglass.
They're fiberglass buggy bottoms.
Nice.
And they're really cool looking. I was like, and he's like, oh, my family's done this a long time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never seen that.
I think they do the shaft. Is that an English word? The shaft?
Shaft, I guess.
It's where the horse goes
Yeah.
in. I know in Dutch it's shaft,
Yeah.
but I know nowadays a lot of them have fiberglass,
Oh, those are fiberglass.
Yeah,
they
we
weren't
used-
back in my day,
yeah,
but
we
they
used
probably
to.
are now.
hickory, and we used sassafras
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
wood
Yeah,
for the boxing and
sassafras.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's cool. So I was a little bit that way. I didn't leave my culture because of what I had problems with. I left because of what I wanted.
Yeah, that's how it was for me.
Yeah. You know, obviously I grew up around farms too. My grandpa had a farm, and we spent, us boys spent a lot of times there. We had to milk cows, put up hay, do all that stuff. And then Dad he built houses. So we got into building houses.
Okay.
And I was probably 11 or 12 when my dad told me, he says, you need something with a steering wheel on it. You know, I mean, at that point, we were driving cars and pickup trucks and stuff like that. But
Really?
I'd be working on a house, and a semi'd go by, and I'd just stop everything I was doing. I'd, watch
Yeah.
a semi go by,
Uh-huh.
and there's a saying out there. You seen the meme on Facebook where it says, my teacher said I couldn't make money staring out a window.
Yeah.
And here I
yes.
am staring out the
Yes,
windshield.
I remember that.
That's kind of where we come from. It was
Yeah.
something more that we
Yeah.
were looking for.
Yeah.
Do you think that affects we're going to get away from sheds here for a minute and talk about personal lives, which that's what Shannon talks all the time about. This show's, it's not just about sheds. It's about life. It's about God and family.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's easier to deal with what's the word I'm looking for? Separation when it comes from you're not running away from something, you're running towards something?
Man, I never thought of that. It probably does.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because the what I think of, if you're talking about running away from something, that means there's resentment there and unforgiveness. And that never leads to anything good. So
Hello.
Yeah, that's gonna cause you problems. And
It's like drinking your own poison.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a good point. And if you have something to look forward to, then you have a dream, and you're always
Yes.
And I've been in that
You
place.
can't be bitter when you're chasing dreams.
Yeah. And it sucks being in a place where you don't know. That's where I was at actually before I start hauling sheds. And
Yeah.
I talked about educating myself and learning. I have a guy that offered to mentor me. And I just go and ask him, like, man, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. Like I don't know what to do.
What
And,
did you do before sheds?
Oh, I did construction, of
Okay.
course. And then 2 years after I left, I started truck and trailer. And then I upgraded to a little bit of dump truck. And then I did over the road semi for a year. I still remember I'd be going down 68 across Maryland. That nasty road was not
yeah.
a very nice semi. But I remember looking over and I'd see my reflection in the passenger window. And I just go, really? Is that me? Is that
Yeah.
me in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
reflection?
Is that-
I'm driving a semi, this little Amish kid. And
So not only did you get a driver's license, you got a Class A.
yeah, I get that back in 08, just before I turned 21.
Yeah.
And I've had it ever since. So, yeah, I did semi for a year. And then I met my wife, started dating, and, well, this ain't going to work. And her brother left the Amish. She had a flooring shop making hardwood flooring. So we both ended up going working for him. And soon after that, we got married. We moved to Colorado. I did Bible college out there. We were there for 2 years, back in
What?
construction. Yeah.
See, this is why I love doing these stories. You just went to Colorado and went to Bible college for 2 years.
Yep. I did a year of Bible college.
Yeah.
But we were there for 2 years.
You were there for 2 years.
And there I worked for a guy building sheds for a little bit.
No
And,
way.
that was where I did my first delivery. Actually, it was a nice new Toyota pickup truck called Sunset sheds. I have to say that really slow.
Yeah, that's a mouthful. Sunset sheds.
Yeah. And
You'll accidentally say something you don't want to say.
well, it sounds like, according to the comments on YouTube, I always say something else.
Yeah.
And if I go on, like,
our Amish accents get us in trouble.
yeah.
And then what really happens is you get a guy like Vargas who also has a Spanish Amish accent, and it for sure doesn't sound like he's in the shed business.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, this is what I love about this.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we find something that's like, what? That just... Unlock the power of productivity with Cardinal Leasing. Are you looking to elevate your business operations with top-tier equipment? Look no further than Cardinal Leasing. We offer a wide range of reliable and high-quality equipment tailored to meet your unique needs. Flexible leasing options. Whether you need short-term rentals or long-term solutions, our customizable leasing plans are designed to provide maximum flexibility and affordability. Conventional financing available. Cardinal Leasing also offers great conventional finance options for those of you that prefer that over-lease purchase options. Expert support. Our team of experienced professionals is here to guide you every step of the way, ensuring a seamless leasing experience. Boost efficiency. With our top-of-the-line equipment, you can enhance productivity, reduce downtime, and achieve your business goals faster. Why choose Cardinal Leasing? Competitive rates, exceptional customer service, hassle-free process, quick and easy approvals. Don't let outdated equipment hold you back. Partner with Cardinal Leasing today and take your business to the next level. Contact us now. Visit our website at equipment.cardinalleasing.us or call us at 618-803-4086 to get started.
But no,
So you got married and then went out there.
Yeah, I went out there. That was a few months after we got married. And I got to tell you this, because it always makes me almost cry.
That's all right.
But I got the idea. I'm like sort of depressed, not knowing, what to do. This is soon after we're married. You shouldn't be depressed then. And
I get it.
so I'm out driving around one day, and I thought, I got to call somebody. So I called my sister, and she and her husband had already moved out there. She left the Amish too. They were out in Colorado. And I'm just talking, just somebody to talk to. And then I said, I've been thinking maybe I should go out there to Bible college. And she said, well, if that's what God wanted you to do, he'll let you know. And boom, I start crying.
Yeah.
Just
Just
emotion.
Yeah, just the emotion of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then
Yep.
I go and I meet my wife and her brother at the restaurant, and I tell her that I think we're going to move to Colorado. And she's like, yay, let's move to Colorado. So a couple weeks later, we're driving home from church, and I'm in the passenger seat, and I'm just sitting there thinking, like, come on. I thought, okay, God can give confirmation. And I thought in my head, I didn't pray, I didn't say anything out loud. It was literally a thought. God, if this is what you want from me, I need confirmation. Give me the word mountain. That night, we go to a different church for a speaker that was there. Afterwards, my wife's up front praying, and they're doing their stuff. On the way home, she says, I don't know what this means, but when I was up there praying, I felt like God says, there's a perfect place for you in the mountain. And that's where the chills come.
Yeah,
like,
buddy.
I know what that means.
Yeah.
And do you have any napkins, wipes, or, any?
Nope, but I need some.
But, when we went out there, things were more expensive. My job, I had to start over. My wife wasn't working. The income was hard.
Yep.
It was tough.
Yep.
That confirmation is what pulled us through. Because
later on you look back and you're like you need that later.
Yeah, because you question it.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's the right decision.
This is where. So I've preached for years. In fact, if you listen to the podcast that came out this week, where Shannon introduces Susan and I to his podcast, the only reason he drugged me into doing podcasts is because of how important I think it is to hear people's stories. And the important thing about hearing people's stories is other people identify with parts of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, your confirmation of what you said, I heard that last week from somebody else. And if you take time to listen to people, you hear this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's incredible how alive God really is.
Yeah.
And what you said about a lot of times confirmation isn't for forward, it's for when you're there and you can look back and you remember that and you're like, okay, I know you have me here for a reason. I have no idea what it is right now.
Yeah.
But you know, one of my favorite songs right now is a song by Shane and Shane. It's called "You've Already Won." I don't know if you've ever heard it, but I'm fighting a battle that you've already won.
Yeah.
And there's a part in that song where it says, "I don't know what you're doing, but I know what you've done."
Yeah.
And
Those are good points.
to have that,
Yeah.
where would you be without your faith? Where did you find it? First of all, where did you find it?
I mean, well, we grew up, you know, believing in God, but it's not like you have to. My story is never that. Just I almost want to slap people sometimes. They have this, you know, I was a drug addict, I was this, and then boom, God changed me. I'm a complete different person. Like, great, but I'm not that person. My snap is like 20 years of slowly evolving.
Yeah. Sometimes it'd be nice to have a snap.
It would be. But either way, it's fine. It's your story.
It's good.
But no, I just, you know, it's people. Soon after leaving the Amish, somebody would invite me to church, and so I'd go, and then you kind of, and I was not the crazy party person. I wanted to party a little bit, but I was curious. I'm always curious. I'm still curious. And so it was sort of this, is this real? Like, is this God real? And what is this all about? And so, yeah, I mean, a couple of years after I left, I kept going to church, and I got baptized. And one day I fell off of I went up on the roof of a barn, and the ladder was on concrete. And I knew it wasn't safe.
Yeah.
But I stepped out on it, and it slid out. And it fell, and I broke my bone right here somewhere. It's still a dent there.
Yeah.
I ended up in the hospital, but it wasn't necessary. And then my pastor came down and asked if I want to get saved. And so we prayed the prayer, and I would say that's the night I got born again. But yeah, at the same time, I would say I've been getting born again for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's just nothing ever really just clicked. And like I said, I question everything. I was at a point a few years ago, actually, where I was not an atheist, but I would tell my wife that I could be, because I'm just questioning it again.
Yeah.
And then those things of when God did this, or when he said that, or when I felt this, those are the things that helped. But I'm kind of a person that there's got to be some evidence. There's got to be something. It's not good enough for me.
Man, we are so much alike. It's creepy.
I kind of thought we were.
It is unbelievable. Have you ever watched the video Patterns of Evidence?
No.
You need to. It's
Patterns of Evidence.
Yeah, it's I'm not, I like history. And I know it teaches us a lot of things, but I'm not a guy that can just sit there and study history and study and study and study.
Yeah.
I kind of fault, but I have a friend, a real good friend of mine, that is just a student. He just studies all the time, and he studies history. He studies all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he called me up one day. He's like, "Hey, this movie's coming out. It's in the theaters, and it's like a sold out event, Patterns of Evidence." And it's literally this guy. I mean, this is digging in the dirt, archaeologist type stuff.
Yeah.
And he goes back, and he's got a documentary on like Jericho, on Noah's Ark, on all this stuff.
Okay.
And he doesn't. The funny thing about it is he doesn't make a point one way or the other. He just lays it all out there. And at the end of the movie,
that's actually good.
It is. At the end of the movie, it's up to you to decide kind of what's happening there.
Yeah.
But I know what God's done in my life. I know, like, I could take 5 hours and share a testimony of time and time again where I needed that word and I got that word. Later on, I could look back and see. And I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
And I have been able to miraculously heal people at just a small prayer. And then there's other times I pray and nothing happens.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? I had a discussion with one of my mentors this morning over here at Boyd and Wortham. And I'm like, why is it that there's commandments in the Bible that have promises, and I see people living the commandments and they're not getting the promises? And to his credit, he looked at me and he says, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because some days it just takes faith.
Right. Yeah.
And then later when we see that faith, it moves on. It's crazy how fast time goes. We could do 2 episodes in one easy.
Yeah.
I want to move out of so I always knew that your spiritual side is important to you. You talk about it freely. You talk about God a lot. You talked about your wife a little bit, and I know you got 2 kids and they're adorable.
Yes, they are.
Getting to hang out with them in Indiana was awesome. We got to spend a little time there.
Yeah.
Your wife intrigues the heck out of me because she follows you around, and you guys get into some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to let's get back a little bit more to your professional side. Obviously, your faith's very important to you.
Yeah.
But you have a professional side to you that you mentioned a little bit in the fact that you do YouTube because you see it as passive income. Where does your professional drive come from? Where are you going with it?
I'd say I want to change the world. So
I'm good with that. Let's go.
part of the YouTube, it's the income, but then influence. I asked God for a long time, what's my purpose? And I finally felt like the answer he gave me is influence. And I think when I say change the world, what's my quote that I always like? It's Abraham Lincoln says, I want to leave this world a little better place having lived in it.
Yeah.
So that's the quote I have on my computer. But I'm talking about just treating people nice. And so with like me and my wife and some of the videos we do, we want to just show the world what a family looks like. And show how you can, and at the same time, sometimes we put stuff in there that maybe you would think you would cut out, but we might fight a little bit, or argue a little bit, or whatever. But that's reality.
Yes.
Our world is starving for reality.
True reality, not reality shows.
No, not reality shows. True reality of just this is real life, and just the real down home family redneck life. And I know there's more, but I can't think what they are right now.
So you feel like you self-identify with a little redneck?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I do too.
we live in the country. We have a garden.
You listen to country.
I don't know what
by the way, your garden, you have a beautiful place here.
Yeah, well, thank you.
So I've seen clips, like glimpses of it or whatever, and actually looked at it. So when I go somewhere new the first time, I look it up on Google. So when I get there, I know it. You ever picked a shed up at the wrong place?
I haven't, but
I have.
I used Google Earth a lot.
But
I don't think I have.
So way back in the day, we didn't have real good Google stuff.
Yeah.
And I've picked up the wrong sheds. That's not a good feeling. So I tend to look at people's places. So when I get there, like I knew when I was coming down the road, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the place.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. Like I can tell you've done a lot of work. It's not a new place. You've done a lot of work.
I can show you inside right now. It's all ripped. It's not all ripped apart. We're putting a new furnace in.
Oh, so you're working?
Ductwork upstairs. Never had ductwork up in upstairs.
Okay.
So yeah, we've done a lot of work into it.
All right. So that was a rabbit trail. Let's get back.
Where were
you? So on your professional side,
oh yes.
Do you read a lot? Where do you get
I don't read a lot. I don't like reading.
I don't either.
I don't like saying that either. I listen. So I tell people, like these guys, friends I have that are getting in a shed haul and your furniture hauler. I said, your truck is your college. Turn your truck into college. You're out there in that truck for 8 hours. And I used to drive, a lot of times 2 hours home, 2 hours out for these deliveries. Why are you listening to music? Sometimes I get burnt. I might listen to something for 3 days, just YouTube. I listen to a lot of YouTube stuff. And then audiobooks, I do some. But there's so much on YouTube. And sometimes I feel like, gosh, I'm just overwhelmed. I need some music.
Yeah,
and so you jam to some music. Yeah. But
for the record, I've been overwhelmed for a little over a year.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get back to where I can put some back in. But yeah, when I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It is.
Just listen to something. when I started, this is where my mentor told me to do this. And when I started hauling sheds, when I started doing it, I didn't know anything about investing. I always wondered, like, when you talk about the stock market, what do you talk about? So I started listening to videos. And then, YouTube, of course. Oh, you like this? Well, you might like this too.
Yeah, it'll start. Yeah.
They just keep popping stuff out there. And recently, I'm obsessed with a guy named Patrick Bet-David. You know that name?
Nope.
PBD Podcast. So he gets more into politics, but he's a businessman.
Okay.
There's a lot to learn, but now you just got to grow and learn. And I was thinking about this yesterday of how weird it is that the more I learn, the more I realize what I didn't know. When I didn't know near as much as I do now, I thought I knew more than I do now.
Well, you'll find the older you get, the worse that gets.
Yeah.
The older you get, the more you realize you don't know very much.
Maybe
but
it's
that's
that.
good.
Maybe I'm
it's
getting
all
old.
good. No, well, it happens every day.
Yeah. And just, recently a friend of mine told me that he was working for a millionaire a little bit. And he said, don't worry about making money. Just worry about growing yourself.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And then yesterday I was listening to an interview with Patrick, and he was talking about how they will pay him. Someone will cut a check for $1 million for him to go speak overseas. Mm-hmm. He doesn't even want to do it, but they'll do it.
Yeah.
And he didn't promote that. He's now doing consulting, making millions of dollars, but he never wanted to do that. It wasn't his plan. Mm-hmm. It's because of who he became. Now people want his whatever he has to offer, so they pay him. Good. So that proved to me that he worked on himself, and then the money came later. And we're talking about being a Christian, and now we're talking about being a millionaire and stuff. I don't think you should be chasing money and just trying to be rich, but I do think that a lot more Christians should be much richer and make more money.
Absolutely.
And then you can go change the world. And I'm tired of these.
It's hard to change the world when you're broke.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But it depends on what your
we've seen plenty of
is.
True.
But like, we're supposed to do things. We're always complaining about Facebook Facebook and all these these big billionaires and how they're doing this and it's wrong. Well, I'm like, shut up and get involved and do something. Yeah.
Go join MeWe.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm the guy that pushes MeWe, but
how's that going?
It's like everything else. You can push pretty hard and you can get another 50, 100 followers over there. Yeah. And then you slack off for a while because people get tired of hearing it. Then you push it again and you get another batch in. The frustrating thing is if everybody would just switch and be done with it, you could move mountains with it. Yeah. But that's not the way people work. And it's half of it's in fun. It always is with me. You're not going to get the real me a whole lot on social media. I'll put stuff out there that I feel like Lord wants me to put out. But I like to poke bears and I like to swat at hornets' nests, and it is what it is for me. Shannon seems to think I have good content, so he lets me run my mouth. So that's fun.
But how do you keep up with it all? Like, you're replying to every comment on every platform and every page.
Like, I spend a lot of time riding down the road too. Yeah. And I keep my notifications pretty handy. And it's pretty easy. I have been known to take 2 days off to see if anybody notices. I haven't noticed. And nobody notices. One time I went 2 weeks without making a post. And
it's when you're in jail. That's when you.
No, when I'm in jail, I'm gone for 30 days.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a while.
Well, I don't know what's going on with that. It's like maybe I've gotten under the radar again. Poor Justin Smith hasn't seen the light of day in over a year.
That's his last name.
I mean, just in case.
Sorry. Right. Sorry. That's a very clever. My friend told me about that. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, cool. And then one day, I don't remember when it was, it hit me like, okay, just in case. So like, that's clever.
It comes from a State Farm commercial. It's not original with me. Yeah. His name tag sitting on the front of his desk is just in case.
So that would be
for insurance, just in case. Yeah.
Okay. So it's Justin and Jake.
Yeah. But it was so bad for a while. There was people contacting my wife and saying this dude's hitting on you. No, they would tell me, hey, this Justin dude's hitting on your wife. Oh. And they'd ask my wife, like, is there something wrong with you and Sam? Is there something going on? Because people did. I was hitting on her.
Oh,
as
I
Justin.
gotcha.
You follow me? And my friends are like, hey.
That's how you find out who your real friends are. You know,
Yeah,
they're
you-
looking out for you.
You find out in a hurry.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So where do you balance? Well, you did. You said it. You know, you feel like Christians could do better.
Yeah. Yeah. Get
That's
involved
the
with
balance.
stuff.
That's the balance between professional and spiritual. Is the fact that most of us could be doing better than what we are.
I mean, look,
Is that what you would wrap up your life philosophy as?
well,
What's making you tick? What makes you drive? You
Some
want
of
to
the
leave the
things
world a
is-
better place. How do you do that?
is I see all these broken people. So many people are broken, and they're all hurt, and that's where I feel like if I thought about this one day, like who hurt these people? It's other people. So if that's who hurt them, who's going to heal them? It's other people.
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
and it's like they have a wound, and every time somebody does something bad to them, they put some salt on or kind of open it up again and activate it, agitate it.
yeah.
But if I come along and I'm nice to them, then I can start heal that. And
You can be the salve instead of the
yeah,
yeah.
and if I can heal that wound, then they can be healed, and then hopefully they can come together with another person, and they can have children, and then raise a good family, and it just spreads on and on and on. It's like a ripple effect. On the other hand, you have people that are broken. They have kids, and they bring those up in the broken world, and then you have more broken people. And I've heard the saying, "Hurt people hurt people."
Yep. I was fixing to say that a little bit
Yeah.
aure because of what you said.
I won't say that anymore. I don't like it because, first of all, you're
We
putting
should be
a
able to get
label.
past that.
Yeah, and you're putting a label on people.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I was hurt, so I must be somebody who hurts people. Like, you don't want to label people like that. And it's not true. I know friends that are,
That were hurt that aren't hurting
gosh,
people.
horrible things, and
Yeah.
they're great people. So I guess that's what ticks me is just, I just feel like changing the world is much easier than people think it is. It's just you doing your little part. I believe with Mother Teresa that it said, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. And if I can take care of my family, love my family, bring up a good family, and I can get hopefully a couple other people, encourage them to do the same thing, and then they do that, and it's just like, because it's weird to me, like, how old is this world? We don't know. It depends on who you ask.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Yeah.
we've been around for a long,
Long
time.
time.
And lately you hear a lot of this, you know, just love people and be nice and whatever. Why is there still so much evil? Like, have we not yet?
Yeah.
They're selling kits in other countries into slavery.
Yeah.
How's
Yep.
this possible? It's 2024.
Yeah.
How is this
And we have
possible?
information at our fingertips.
Yeah.
We find out, you know, as soon as something happens, the whole world finds, and yet that
Mm-hmm.
stuff's flying under the radar.
And I guess part of that ends with is that it pretty much has to prove that there's a devil that's
Yes, that's always
pulling
fighting
people
against
backwards.
it. Yes.
Yeah, because
That's a good point.
and
Yep.
I think again, Christians too many times they don't know who they are. They don't know the authority and power they have. They didn't understand it. And as my
Oh,
pastor always talks
absolutely.
about is when that
Yep.
was me, and my
Yep.
pastor says that was him. You sit in the corner waiting
Yes.
until you die
Yep.
to go off to La La Land.
Yep.
You're supposed to bring La
We're
La
supposed to
Land
be.
here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
That's a good point.
But then at the same time, I'm also all about having freedom, and I don't want to work all the time. I don't want to be. I'm not somebody that wants to just go out and work all the time and work hard. I'm gonna do out and just. I always think, and maybe you can. I'm curious what you think it is when I say I'm gonna change the world. What do people think? Oh, so you're gonna be the president or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm talking about just these one little random act of kindness at a time.
Yep.
And if we could just get so many more people to do that, we're supposed to kick the devil's butt and do it with kindness and love. And,
Yep.
But then there's a balance of that too.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yep.
let's not get into the woke stuff.
Yeah. True.
You can't say anything,
Yeah.
and that's of the devil too. So I guess that's what makes me tick is broken people. People
Yeah.
that are hurt,
Yep.
people that and those who hurt them. You know, they need a 2x4 over their head sometimes.
Too bad we can't do that. So how does somebody find you?
I don't want to be found.
You don't want to be found. Like the listeners, they're like, well, he's got a YouTube channel. Where is he? Or
it's Life with Josh and Sarah.
Life with Josh and Sarah.
That's a long name.
Yeah.
It used to be called Shed Happens.
Yeah, I remember
YouTube.
that. It was, so you switched that.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Okay.
I felt like it wasn't very professional.
Okay.
And I would tell people, and they'd come back to me like, I can't find it. And like, they would be searching SHIT.
Hey, this is Mo
boy.
Lunsford in
Yeah,
sunny
misunderstand
Union
me,
Grove,
and
North Carolina.
so
and we
we
want to
ended
say
up
thank
changing it
you
'cause
to
we
all the
wanted to get
guests
into
and
more,
listeners.
like creating content about Amish life.
Yeah.
And just sharing our story and stuff like that. And we're planning on doing more interviews with former Amish, just getting their stories out there. And it's heart telling, you know, where it goes. And it's weird. On one hand, I feel like I try to take control of my life and like, here's where I want to go. On the other hand, just kind of leave it up to God, because one day I'm doing this and all of a sudden, hey, what if we do that?
Yeah.
So I can't say, you know, go there and you'll find Amish videos. Go there and you find repo videos.
No, I want to
Who
just
knows
know where
what's
to
gonna be
find you.
But yeah, it's just YouTube, Life with Josh and Sarah, and then I'm on Facebook, Josh Schwarzenegger. Yeah. And that's about it. I
That's
don't
the best
do
way
TikTok.
to, okay.
I don't do any of the other stuff.
Yep. Well, thank you. I knew it would be fun, and I feel like we could easy go another hour if we wanted to.
Yeah,
but,
we could.
It's a honor and a pleasure to be here with y'all today. Love your family. Love what I see. The authenticity is off the charts. That's what, and I think ultimately that's what intrigues people to watch, is they know they're watching something real.
I've been hearing that lately.
So
Yeah.
definitely stick with that. Wish you all the best. Lord's blessings. Thank you for being on my Friday Fun Day show.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it.
Yes, it's
Awesome.
good. See y'all next time.